Somebody wants to kill me. There's like more than one person that wants to kill me. The fact that people have come forward and said that there's so much sexual abuse and so much like culty kind of shit, these are facts, and that like Hollywood is based on that. They implemented those ideas into creating child stars that they could have control over and use as like chess pieces. And I don't know how many people are involved. All I know is that James Gunn and Harvey Weinstein definitely were involved. It's taken like years and years of me healing and like going through years of therapy. I didn't answer your question about the police. My social worker called, so I had to deal with her. I'm hoping that it is gonna end up being a huge criminal investigation. I file police reports like almost daily about this situation as more things come up. Chances are somebody along the line is gonna confess, and that the videos of this occurring to me are going to come forward and things are going to be known and the truth about the situation is going to come out. So chances are at some point it might end up on the news, but I don't know when that point is. I'm kind of in the dark about what they're doing as far as an investigation. They haven't really like clued me in onto anything. All I do right now is I file police reports and tips about what has occurred with me, and then just like ask law enforcement to take note. I definitely, the more people speak about it on my behalf, I think the more law enforcement is going to really be like crunched to do something. But I also am worried about potentially compromising an investigation because I really don't know how many people are involved. I just know that these 5 people are for sure involved that are in Hollywood, but like as far as like other children involved, like there's just a lot of people that are potentially involved in this, and I'm just worried. Like I think by not stating my name, maybe that will like help like conceal what's going on and help an investigation for sure, but I definitely don't want to like do anything to compromise an investigation because it's super serious. And at this point I know that like people probably are going to try to sue me for slander also. I know that's probably going to happen. So yeah, probably keeping my name out of it would be the smartest move. But yeah, this was like actually a cult, you know what I mean? So it was actually a cult. It was actually mind control. It is actually something very serious. And it's like some Illuminati, fake Illuminati cult stuff that they started, like they must have started in the 90s or before, I don't know. And I'm also super concerned right now because I know that Rose McGowan also was raped by Harvey Weinstein and Black Cube was sent after her. And I believe an organization like Black Cube or like MS-13, which is a criminal gang here, was sent after me at 8 years old. And they're trying to warp why the intention is that I have a hit on me and stuff like that. So I'm worried that like a spy agency that isn't government like regulated is after me and is like actively trying to curtail the truth from being known about this situation and actively trying to paint me out as somebody that's like manipulative or lying about the situation or drawing inspiration from current events instead of actually speaking the truth of my childhood and being reminded of the fact that all of this occurred in my early childhood. People are definitely going to try to come after me about stuff and try to spearhead any kind of investigation with like lawsuits and stuff. So I definitely don't want people to be aware that this is really what's going on and that this is me speaking about this stuff. As far as Eugenia Cooney, I mean, I would imagine that girl has gone through like maybe not the same kind of stuff, but like fucking maybe similar stuff. You know, she like what has happened to her and the way she's been exploited, especially when she's severely anorexic, is so super fucked up. It's super dark and twisted. So yeah, so maybe the fact that you have so many views on a video like that will draw people in to like actually like understand the situation and understand the reality of this situation so they can do something about it, and so people are held accountable and Harvey Weinstein can like get charged for another crime and convicted for another crime that has to do with pedophilia and face an even longer prison sentence, even though he's definitely going to die in prison. And James Gunn gets arrested and charged with child abuse and conspiracy, because that's what this is. This is a conspiracy, and it's also, my real name isn't mentioned on my Instagram, but Megan Fox knows my face. I'm sure she can recognize my face, especially since I'm gonna post pictures of what I looked like at 6 too. I will keep telling you more and more information. Just keep asking me questions. Like, the more we get started on this and the more you want to know, because there's a lot of details to this, you know, and I have all kinds of notes about these details. I've been writing things down, you know. Let's keep in contact. And then hopefully, like, you know, from you, like, more people will want to get involved in, like, understanding the situation, and then, like, I can actually push this super forward into, like, the public eye and really, like, hold people accountable in the way that they need to be held accountable. And so we can find out how many people are involved in this, because this is, like, there's a lot of people involved, and I think it's, like, appropriate that, like, every single person gets found and justice is found for me and for the other kids that were involved in this, that were also 4 years old and being tortured. I think the celebrities involved do need to be named, because the fact that they haven't come forward already with this information shows me that they have, like, a gross malicious intention to keep this secret, or they've been brainwashed and they're afraid of the cops and they're afraid of who's in charge, because they convinced me that I was working for the CIA and that I had to keep things top secret and stuff like that at, like, a super early age, so, like, 3 or whatever. They were, like, convincing me that I was, like, a Russian spy or, like, CIA spy, and I had to keep things top secret. So I don't even know what, like, the celebrities involved have, besides for, like, James Gunn and Harvey Weinstein, but, like, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly and Pete Davidson, like, I don't even know what they have gone through. Like, I know kind of what Pete Davidson has gone through, but I don't even know what, like, the other two have gone through and what people have said. So I honestly think that they should be named and that you should mention them, and they already are in the public eye, you know what I mean? So, you know, they should be willing, you know, and I don't want to, like, get anyone shot, but, like, at the same time, like, this stuff does need to be talked about. Yeah, for a week or two, while all of this information was coming back up and I was starting to remember stuff, I was like, no, this couldn't have been, like, the real Megan Fox. Like, there's no way that this could have been the real Megan Fox. But then I remember talking to my sister and, like, telling her that I was, like, raped by somebody named Harvey Weinstein in front of somebody named Megan Fox, and pretending like it was, like, some kind of, like, joke, and that, like, I wasn't serious about it, you know, and she shouldn't be scared, but, like, really, like, trying to convey to her that, like, this actually happened, but saying it in a way that was just, like, that was, like, intentionally misleading her almost, because my parents had convinced me that, like, none of my memories were real, and they also convinced, like, it was a very embarrassing moment for me because of what they made me do while I was being raped by Harvey Weinstein. It was extremely embarrassing. They told me that he was, like, always gonna pop up every time I had, like, an orgasm, you know what I mean? And I would always have to think of him, and it would give him power and stuff like that. And so all of these different things, so I just, like, didn't talk about it besides for, like, the one time with my sister. I know for sure it was actually Megan Fox, and I know for sure it was actually Colson Baker, and I know for sure it was actually Pete Davidson, and it was actually James Gunn, and it was actually Harvey Weinstein. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that sounds like the best course of action. And I did want to mention something kind of serious to you, that might involve potentially your country's law enforcement, okay? Because I believe that this infant that I killed was actually a real child that was actually slaughtered in front of me. I believe that they may have gotten this child through some kind of human trafficking and black market situation where this child's identity was unknown, so they could have gone to a country like Russia, potentially, somewhere in Eastern Europe, somewhere in Europe in general. They could have gone from Condu. I don't think it was, I'm fairly sure that this child was white, so I don't think it was from Mexico, and it definitely was not a black child, okay? So it could have been from a country like Slovenia, it could have been from a country like Ukraine, it could have been from a country like Latvia, it could have been from some kind of country where it was a closed adoption, or they like gave it to the wrong people, or like James Gunn himself offered them money in a black market scheme. Like, that's how serious this is. This was like a real child that existed, that like that my mom killed in front of me and then asked me to throw its body around, okay? That's actually what happened. They told me that this baby was James Gunn's baby, and then they later told me that it was Russian, okay? But I don't know what its ethnicity or nationality was. All I know is that it was probably white. It was probably a white child. So it could have come from inside the United States too. We have no idea where this baby came from. So we're like, it's really actually that serious. Like I have no idea where this baby actually came from, and I have no idea what they did with its body afterwards. So like tracking down this infant, like I've gone through like the missing persons reports in my country, in my state, and none of them seem to align with the time period. So it's actually like pretty fucking serious. Like these people really are on some serious homicidal shit. All of these countries, any predominantly white country needs to be notified of any missing children. This happened when I was like 3 or 4. I think I was 3 or 4 when this happened. So that would have been in 1996 or 1997. Every country, basically in the EU and in Russia and Ukraine and Latvia and just any white country needs to be notified of this, because literally somebody's child got killed. For her, in my opinion, there is a deeper meaning, okay? Because I think she was so disturbed by what she saw with Harvey Weinstein that she felt like her innocence was being compromised, and therefore like got a nose job because she felt like, I don't know, insecure about her nose. Because my dad said to me one time that he went quote unquote, they think that her nose is gonna be bigger than yours, so she's gonna end up looking kind of witchy when she gets older, is what my dad said to me after this happened with Harvey Weinstein. Okay, so somebody around her made her feel like that. I don't know her like real specific reasons. I don't know if somebody told her that specifically, but that's what my dad said about her afterwards, because he, I guess, knows who her parents were or knew what they looked like. And as far as like plastic surgery with like rituals and stuff, like it kind of is like that, because the way that we were like programmed, or the way that I was that you want to like avoid surgeries and stuff like that, because my parents told me that I was gonna get lobotomized if I ever got a nose job. That I would get like a lobotomy if I got a nose job. So like a surgery to my brain if I got a nose job. And unfortunately I have a deviated septum, so I have to get my nose fixed. So, and I also have to get like my surgery, like genital surgery also because of this. So it is like ritualistic and like satanic on my part for sure. Yeah, as far as like Megan Fox plastic surgery, like I think that they knew what she and I were gonna look like when we grew up, you know? So they knew that I was gonna have more like round, like innocent facial features, and they knew that she was gonna look more like, I don't know, hard, you know, more like sexy, more like, you know, just different, like I look more innocent in the face. So they played up on that. They basically made her feel like she wasn't innocent, and they made her feel like guilty for something, essentially. And then she got a nose job because of that, essentially. So, and because, you know, she had kids too, and I'm sure she's fucking traumatized by that. You know, I said what I said and I got angry for sure, but I'm sure she's traumatized every time she looks at her kids. You know, I'm sure I don't know if she goes back to those memories. I hope she's blocked them out, honestly. And as far as me making it in Hollywood, that was definitely a goal for me, all throughout my childhood, but that was like what I was raised to want to be a goal. You know, they wanted me to infiltrate Hollywood or politics. Just something, politics, banking, there was a financial industry they wanted me to infiltrate. They wanted me to be sex trafficked too. I was raised to put these things at like a very high standard, and then like every time I would get sexually assaulted, my family would say it was because they didn't want me to be famous, essentially. You know what I mean? So, like, they made me do some really grotesque things when I was raped by Harvey Weinstein, and it made me uncomfortable with my ability to act after that, even though I still worked on it. And I also was like kind of blackmailed using like my emotions and acting. They kind of blackmailed me with my emotions and with acting, and convinced me that other people had my emotions because I had like sex with these other people. So these other people controlled my emotions. So it made me like super like insecure about like acting and about singing and about dance, just anything. I was also in a video where I was like forced to dance naked when I was like 4 or 2, so that made me insecure about dance also. I forgot what else you said. You said, if I had made it and like if I was famous. Honestly, I think that like some of that would have been healing for me, and it would have been a way for me to feel like triumphant over my parents' threats about me never being able to make it, and they were gonna make sure that I never made it because I was in child porn. So it probably would have made me feel really good, but at the same time, it's just an environment that I think is just... it's super dangerous. It's got a lot of cults. It's got a lot of really crazy people, a lot of really warped ideologies. I'm kind of glad I didn't end up there, even though it would have been nice to like express my emotions and like the sincereness from where my emotions stemmed from because of my traumatic upbringing. It would have been nice to express those things on a public forum, because that would have been like the true art to my human being, It would be my emotions and would be acting, because I had to have all of these different... They literally conditioned emotional responses in me to using memories of trauma, or memories of like good things, so I could bring up those emotions at will, so I would be really, really good at acting. Okay, but then they I think got paranoid with the child porn and stuff like that, and then they just started having me raped by various Hollywood people, and they probably also got paranoid about the fact that they killed an infant as well. I don't know, I'm glad I'm not in that world, but I also would never want to be in the business world at all either. That's some scary shit for me as well. So I'm pretty content living a low-key life until like this is what comes to light, you know what I mean? And honestly, I don't know about even showing my face about this shit, or my name when it does come to light and people face charges for this stuff. So I don't even know about that right now. But the issue is that if I don't go public with my identity, I don't know how many other people have been involved in this, and they already, I'm thinking that as soon as this comes out, I'm gonna have to go into witness protection. As soon as people start like telling the truth and things really start like getting rolling as far as that is concerned, like I really am thinking that I'm gonna have to go into witness protection. But there's always gonna be part of me that wants my face and my name to be with this story, because I know I'm such a survivor of such bullshit, and I'm like proud of the fact that I've lived so far. But I definitely know that if I do that, like, my parents, everybody has probably had a hit out on me for years, since like the child porn. They probably planned out a way to assassinate me or to kill me, not assassinate, but like to kill me. They've probably planned that shit out. So if there is a hit, like it's already gonna happen, and I'm just like, it's really a catch-22, like there's like added security and safety with like your name being out there, but there's also not. Right now, my big focus is to leave the house that I'm in, because my mom owns it. She bought this house for me. It's a way for her to not appear as guilty as she is, and it's a way for her to control the hit that she knows has been put out on me, essentially, also. So that's my main objective right now, is to get to a place that is safe, and that I feel safe, and that I can heal, and like maybe even have like a live-in psychologist kind of deal. That's my main objective right now. But as far as like me wanting to be famous in the past, sure, that was definitely an objective, but it was an objective that was also made extraordinarily unattainable by my family and and everyone around me. I could tell you more details about what exactly they made me do like while I was being raped by Harvey Weinstein, but it's some pretty fucked up shit, okay? They basically were training me to have different kundalini like orgasm experiences like at 4 on up, okay? They classically conditioned me to have like a certain sensation to a word as I orgasmed, so so I would have different sensations to different words, and they had me classically conditioned to hee-haw, which is the sound a donkey makes, and they also had me classically conditioned to an elephant noise, which is like a play on Democrats and Republicans. They had me conditioned to my mom saying, "You wet the bed." They had me conditioned to emotions being related to certain sexual experiences. You know, they would make me think of something where I was innocent, right? Like a time where like somebody in my family accused me of something where I was innocent, and then they would make me like have an orgasm to that thought, which is like really, really fucking nuts. But yeah, they were actually doing that shit. Dude, the whole reason she bought me the house is because she knows there's a hit out on me and that somebody wants to kill me, and it's a way for her to better control how that occurs, and so she can tell people where my address is. So my address is linked to the Yellow Pages, which is like the book that we have that has everybody's address and phone number. It's a way for her to control the situation, especially because my neighborhood is super law enforcement friendly. Like, we're a big Blue Lives Matter neighborhood, and so it's a way for her to basically kill me in this neighborhood, I believe, or to have me killed by somebody that I've been associated with. And it's a way for her to control the situation because she knows exactly where I'm going to be, and everybody else knows exactly where I'm going to be, because they planned this out for literally for years. Literally since I was 8, they've been planning this out. Maybe even beforehand. As far as like the emotional torture to elicit emotional memories and responses, yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. And that's why we have such an issue right now with people that went through the same thing. They are able to act really, really well, okay? And they can convey emotional honesty very well, okay? Because they actually, these things actually come from the heart, but they've also been taught to switch and turn things off at will. Okay? So they know how to do that shit. And that's what is so serious about this situation, is that these people know how to do this stuff because they were classically conditioned into knowing how to do it, and they take pride in the fact that they can do it because they think that they're somehow like aiding the world in some kind of grand scheme or protecting people or whatever, because they've been brainwashed. There's like a lot of details about the sexual abuse. Like, I'll probably go into it a little bit later. I have like all kinds of notes, dude. Like, I could send you like tons and tons of notes, dude, but a lot of them, like, I would have to explain context for, because they're just things that I've jotted down as the memories have come up. But as far as like my parents go and my involvement with them, I always strived to, like, after all of the abuse happened, I strived to suck up to them and try to like really like be like, "I love you, oh that's pretty, you know, you look good today," like all kinds of stuff, dude. And I got so stuck in that it became like a role. And by that time, my parents had changed and they were acting like they actually loved us, and that like none of my memories were real, and that I was forgiven for things and stuff like that. It's been difficult to even process like how dark these people are, and how much hatred and animosity and disgust I should feel towards them that I was never allowed to feel, that was like stunted at such an early age for me to be able to feel. But yeah, no, my parents definitely like have orchestrated a hit for sure. For sure. You know, they had me sex trafficked. Who, like, I already kind of have a hunch on who it is that wants to shoot me, that wants to kill me at the end of, like, when all this shit comes out and stuff. I already have, like, a couple hunches. So I basically don't leave my house, you know, I don't drive, like, I stay in my house. That's, like, all I do. I mean, there was one time where, the hit out on me was basically like carried out in Colorado, and I was on ketamine, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they had me on ketamine. The guy that I was there with ended up saying like the trigger words that like I was classically conditioned to sexually, and it was like the first time that I had heard those words since I was 8 years old, 9 years old maybe. And I'm sure they sexually assaulted me, and I'm sure there's like video footage of it. And they're part of like a jam band scene. They're part of this band scene called the Disco Biscuits. He did that. At least I'm pretty sure, because I was passed out and everything, but I could still hear, and what I was hearing was like reminding me of stuff, but it just seemed like I was like tripping out. Like, it seemed like I was just on a drug, you know, I was in like a daydream. But yeah, he definitely did that. So what all he took from me in that process, I don't even know, dude, because they had me like classically conditioned to where my like sex is linked to my emotions. So like it feels as though right now that I cannot express certain emotions because sex is linked to them, and certain mentalities about myself because they linked that through sexual programming, sexual hypnosis, and sexual conditioning. But I think that might all be bullshit. So it all might just be like metaphysical, spiritual stuff that like has no basis in fact. So hopefully that's the case. I don't know. I feel less powerful after that experience. I have a bunch of animals and that kind of helps me with my spirituality and stuff like that. I kept myself like super busy, and that keeps me like healthy, I guess. And just like the fact that I'm like, I don't know, I live a pretty like quiet lifestyle, for the most part, besides for yeah, it's definitely not sarcasm or a prank, and it's definitely me not acting like I'm trying to be as straightforward as possible, like it's not a prank at all. My situation right now is kind of fucked up, just because I live in my mom's house and I'm like trying to get both her, my grandmother, my dad, my other grandmother, and my uncle arrested for child sexual assault. It's kind of fucked up and it's kind of twisted, and I don't know, I have like this guy.